You know, I wasn't going to make another Armored Core video, but I've been playing Verdict Day. Since From Software announced that they would be shutting down Verdict Day in March 2024 after a 10-year run of being up, it made the game more active than it's been in years. It dragged a lot of old players out of retirement and attracted new fans from Armored Core 6 to give it a go. I played it almost every day up until this sad moment. As someone who politely put it in a Discord, to savour every drop of ambrose flavour that comes along with it. Because there isn't anything quite like Verdict Day, it stands alone. I can say without a shadow of a doubt that Armored Core Verdict Day is the most ambitious mech game ever created. Where do I even begin with this one? Let's start with the aesthetics. The Armored Core series has always had that middle ground of being semi-real and over-the-top anime mech stuff. Verdict Day strikes that perfect balance, that real industrial war aesthetic, with just a hint of sci-fi nonsense. I'm not opposed to one extreme or the other. In the end, your game still has to have good gameplay. But when we get that perfect balance, you have to give a tip of the hat to the art team and say well done, because it's not something you see often. Then there's that whole boot up system you go through every time you enter a mission. It is showing you right from the get-go what game properties are in play, with the stagger system, movement and your FCS, all of which can be affected by weapons in the game. All of it just looks like something that would be in this world. If I was inside the AC and looked at my monitor, this is exactly how I picture it booting up. The airborne aircraft carrier halo jumps are the best in the series for me. I remember being in complete awe when I first saw them. And like a great summoning in an RPG or a very flashy special move in a fighting game, I never get bored of seeing it over and over again. I'm just like, yeah, if I'm dropping down onto a battlefield in a giant robot, I'm doing it that way. So damn good. These are just little things that add to the overall presentation of the game. Over the years, the way the ACs look has also grown on me too. I used to think they were the ugliest in the series, but when you start to get more and more into the design of them, you get that the style that they were going for, and you get to make some pretty cool looking ACs. We then have the many custom workshop garages that were available through DLC. These garages are insane. I'll show you a few, but just know there were loads, and it's not even a debate that Verdict Day has the best garages in the series. Why and how they never brought these back for Armored Core 6 I will never know, but the amount of effort they put into the presentation of the game is clear to see. Then you have the maps. I still think Armored Core 5 had the better maps, but Verdict Day has some maps that take your breath away, like the Destroyed Mother World map, which is sadly only available on Conquest Mode, which I will talk about later. But this map makes so much sense being here lore wise, and it just makes for a great battleground. So what game mode does this game offer? Well, it has a story mode, which is fine, nothing to write home about. Once you beat it, you unlock hardcore mode. Hardcore mode sees you start the game over from the beginning. All shop items have been reset too. Along with your ranks, you're basically starting the game from scratch. You get to choose what type of mech you want to be in hardcore mode, each having its own multipliers for each stat, like your damage received and dealt, along with your payout, etc. I usually go with being a gambler. That gives me 5 lives to beat the entire game. Whatever you pick, you really have to be on extra guard in missions and be more careful with resource management. You also can't replay missions to farm for more cash. This is straight up hardcore mode in every sense. It's the true life of being a mercenary. Depending on what type of mech you decide to be at the start, you'll get 10 or less chances to beat the entire game. If you die too many times, it will be game over and you will have to start again. Hardcore mode doesn't allow you to use any DLC parts or UNACs or any help from a friend via co-op. No, this is strictly all on you, the way it should be. This is an excellent mode for those that really want to test themselves. I have no idea why they didn't bring this mode back for Armored Core 6. As far as I'm concerned, this mode should be in every Armored Core game going forward. The main meat and potatoes of this game comes from Conquest Mode. You choose one of the 3 factions in the game for your team to fight for, and then you go out and attack their territory or defend your own. The aim is to eventually defeat and conquer as much land as you can, as the war will reset every couple of days so you can choose another faction to fight for. You don't have to roll out in your own full team either. You can hire mercs, aka other players, or get hired yourself and fight against your own faction. It's great. Furthermore, if you're the aggressor, you'll have to deal with enemy turrets shooting at you. Sometimes winning the battle isn't just about beating all the enemy ACs. Sometimes your objective will be to hack terminal points, and you can win that way instead. If you have at least 2 players or a UNAC, you can pick the role of the operator. This gives you a bird's eye view of the battlefield. You can drop beacons, scan enemies, and even get the exact point of view from all your teammates. It's actually a fun role, best used with a mic to relay information to your team quickly. Team battle is pretty much the same as Conquest Mode, only you fight on neutral grounds and you can't use any of your fancy UNACs. I explained what UNACs are in my previous 5th gen video. As far as I'm concerned, Conquest/Team Battle is the main mode of the game, not story mode or anything else. The same way I consider Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries is the main mode of Resident Evil 5. Not that the story campaign isn't fun, but anyone that plays Resident Evil 5 knows what I'm talking about. When you boot that game up, you're probably going straight into that sweet addictive Mercenaries. And that's the same for Verdict Day. You're going into Conquest/Team Battle. The amount of fun I have playing in this mode, I haven't felt this way since the days of Hawken, and I'm talking about the original PC Hawken. All you old Hawken heads know what I'm talking about. That game was ambitious too, perhaps a little too much, as it would also eventually crash and burn. But those first couple of years were so good. It's funny, Hawken also goes for that real world near future style that Verdict Day has. I guess there truly is something to be said if your game can nail that style. Just like when I used to play Hawken, I couldn't put it down. It was the same for Verdict Day. My second favourite mode in this game was the raid bosses. 4-player co-op mech battles against giant mechanical monsters. This is giving me Lost Planet vibes. It was so cool fighting them all. I'm going to list my least favourite to best one. Keep in mind I really liked all of them. First up is Grey Lotus, aka the spinning donuts, as some players call them. You fight one of these in the story mode, but when it comes to the raid boss version, you'll have to fight 4 of them at once. I would say these are the easiest of the raid bosses. Yes, they can overwhelm you if you're not careful, but as long as you're patient and keep your distance and avoid their main laser attack, you'll be fine. Next up is the 605s. Like Grey Lotus, you encounter these in the story mode as well. I think at most you fight 2 at the same time during the story missions, but the raid boss version there will be 6. These guys can be very tricky thanks to their sonic spinball attack. It can do heavy damage and most of the time wipe you out. You want to use the buildings as cover and try to stay off the streets. Following on, we have the scavengers, and once again these are enemies that you will face in the story mode. These mechanical bird-like creatures can hit you really hard with either their dive attacks or heavy hitting cannons and rockets. The map you're fighting on also has water, so you can find yourself sinking if you stay in the wrong spot for too long. To beat these guys, you simply have to stay on the move. Their attacks have a huge recovery window. You will likely get hit by not paying attention to one of them sneaking up on you or sniping you from afar. You'll have to take down 5 of them to win this battle. The legend that is Chief appears as my next favourite boss. Okay, it's not exactly Chief, but I always call it that because more Chief in Armored Core is always a good thing. This boss is called Excusia. It's the final boss from Armored Core 5, only this version is way more powerful. It managed to wipe out many of my teams. Its dive attack is devastating. It will stay out of your range for a large portion of the battle, spamming its laser beams down on you, along with its giant missile pods that can stun lock you or force you into a position that you don't want to be in. This is a boss that definitely took a few tries before I managed to take it down. Liv, aka Lady in Vortex. Oh my days. This boss right here is the one that killed me the most. Defeat after defeat, L after L, over and over again. My god. For me, she is by far the toughest raid boss in the game. Her attacks do everything to nullify you, from jamming you to stun locking you, and then to top it off, her laser attacks, which if you're in a lightweight AC, might as well say your prayers when it hits because it's over. Even a heavyweight AC won't last long. There are 2 ways to beat Liv. One shot her with a growing blade and hope you don't miss, or play the slow and steady game knowing that you are probably always just 2 shots away from death. Long range weapons are the card to play here, as she can move from one side of the map to the other in mere seconds. She is quick, and if she ever closes in on you, then prepare to join the scrap heap. N/WGIX/V aka J. This is the final boss in story mode, only when you fight him as a raid boss he has a totally different attack pattern. For starters, Jay will stay in his VOD form like he's cosplaying Ace Combat. He will speed by you shooting lasers and dropping bombs. He is travelling so fast that you won't be able to lock onto him. Someone on your team will have to bring a sniper cannon. If you don't, then GG, because Jay will probably wipe you all out in his Ace Combat mode. Since he's flying in a straight line, you can sniper him pretty easy. When he falls to the ground, phase 2 begins, and he will start using his blades, that also sometimes send out energy waves, a nice nod to old gen fans. He will also spread Kojima particles all over the place, so your AP will be constantly going down. It becomes a race to kill him before he does you. It's a thrilling battle. I always wondered what it would be like to fight a next in a normal AC, and well, we finally get to find out. Jay was close to my number 1 pick, but we have another returning boss. Yes, it's none other than Spirit Class Moving Fortress, aka Spirit of Mother Will. What gets me every time is the soundtrack. I said it before, but I'll say it again. This version is even better than the one used in FA. Your first problem is even getting close to Mother Will. Plenty of times either me or my teammates didn't even make it. Once you get there, you still have a massive job on your hands. You're no longer in the next. You can't foot stomp Mother Will like you were in White Glint. Nope, this is the ultimate team effort of everyone pulling together. The tactics are teamwork, which this boss fight really shows what Verdict Day is all about. Verdict Day's gameplay mechanics are so good once you get over the giant hurdle, and there is much to learn past that if you really want to excel in PvP combat. I explained the basics in my other video, so if you want to know more I suggest you watch that video. While there are a few games I like over Verdict Day, for me personally this game has the best movement in the series, and by that metric it might just have the best movement for a mech game. What this allows for is player expression. What do I mean? Well, when you watch a high level player, even if you don't see his tag or name, you immediately know who that player is because of his movements and playing style. You see this a lot in fighting games, the good ones that is. Remember Tekken 6 and the whole Bob situation, where everyone and their mom picked Bob? There was no player expression because every player did the exact same thing. If I removed the names, you'd have no idea who was playing. I don't blame the players. If you've got a tourney to win, you're going to pick the most broken character in the game. And I'm not just picking on Tekken here, it's just one of the many examples out there. Watching someone that has mastered the art of movement in this game is a thing of beauty. Then there's the music. Armored Core has always had good soundtracks, but this one by the band Frequency is something else. They're like an early 2000s electric rock band. I can't imagine what Verdict Day would be like without their music. It's kind of like remembering the music to your favourite movies. The music is intertwined with your memories. Boss battles and missions will forever remain in your head because of the amazing beats and lyrics that goes with them. I'm still waiting for Fat Man to drop his 4th album. We need more drunken lyrics over Armored Core beats. Verdict Day is what you call the total package. Story mode, hardcore mode, conquest multiplayer team battles, co-op, raid bosses, PvP, high level customization the series is known for, the UNAT system, creating your own monster ACs, high level presentation, amazing movement. There is no mech game quite like it. No game hits you like Verdict Day does. My eyes have been opened, I can see clearly now. For me, Verdict Day was one of the finest mech experiences I've had. My opinion on the game I had years ago has changed big time. I put it alongside Silent Line as one of the best in the series, and overall one hell of a great mech game. So what state is the game actually in after its closure? Well, of course you can still play the story mode and the excellent hardcore mode. You can no longer play co-op through the story. There are no more teams or conquest mode or raid bosses, that's all gone now. This means your units are all but useless now too. What still works is free battle, so you can in theory still have team battles and PvP matches for as long as Sony and Microsoft decide to keep PSN and Live up running on the PS3 and the 360. Sadly, the player base is tiny, so it's a Discord game really. Don't expect to log on and find random players playing. If you have a powerful rig, you can run PCVD, which is the game running on PC. You should know emulation brings its own problems, but at least you have an option. Currently it's just the same as free battles on consoles, with a few hacks and mods that might interest you further. I have to give a big shout out to Cheng from the Discord. He ran the final verdict events across the last months of the game, hosting events and giving out prizes. Without his efforts I would not have had as much fun as I did, so a big thank you goes out to Cheng. Also a big shout out to all Mantis Inc team members and any other mercs I played with. It was a blast taking down those bosses and fighting on the battlefield with all of you. As always, thanks for watching and catch you next time.